So today we're going to give you a bit of an overview of Tiimely's Xapii software, and we're going to give a live demonstration as to how that solves for common lending automation challenges such as validation of financial position and serviceability. We'll also give you a bit of an overview of Tiimely and who we are, just for those who aren't familiar with our journey. Bit of housekeeping before we start. You can add your questions, comments, feedbacks to the thread in the window, but let's get underway. So I'll give you a quick overview of what you're going to see today. So firstly, an overview of Tiimely and who we are. We're going to give you an introduction to Xapii, our platform, and the Xapii solutions. We're going to then talk about the applicability of Xapii, the use cases it can be used in the industries. And then importantly, we're going to get out of the PowerPoints to go straight to a live demonstration where we're going to show you in a home loans use case how Xapii Decide can help solve the lending automation. As I said, there'll be opportunities to put your comments and questions in the thread, and we'll pick those up at the end of the session today. Now, moving forward. Okay, who am I? I'm Richard Shanahan, and I'm Chief Solutions Officer at Tiimely. The solutions team plays a really important role in Tiimely and for our partners and customers. We work with them to not only help implement the technical solution Xapii, but also help address common challenges such as operational change management, digitizing credit risk policies, all the way through to how you can optimize your digital funnels and growth opportunities. I have been with Tiimely since we were TikTok back in 2017, and I've performed roles here looking after our data science and machine learning function and our product management function, but now working more closely with our partners in industry in the solutions role. I've actually seen Tiimely evolve quite a lot over that period, from what was originally our B2C proposition all the way to where we are today, helping to enable industry and our partners. Let's go and have a look at the Tiimely story. So here we can see our timeline. So we launched this TikTok back in 2017, as a lot of you would probably remember. And at the time, we were Australia's really only true digital home loan. We saw the need in the market to improve customer experiences, to improve credit quality on balance sheets. We launched our proposition to market in 2017. It created quite a buzz. And what we quickly found, well, by 2019, is there was some enterprise demand for getting our tech out there. So we launched our first white label mortgage solution to market. That was our partnership with Bendigo and Adelaide Bank, and that's still going today. Moving forward, 2020, we started to see opportunities for how our tech could solve more discrete challenges in lending automation, and not just in home loans, so auto, consumer, and hardship. So we began our componentization journey, so how we could take parts of the Xapii stack, chunk it up into discrete modules, and make that available under a SaaS model. Here we are today in 2024. We have 5 brands live in market with our white label mortgage solution. So that's an end-to-end solution, all the way from the top of funnel, getting your leads in, all the way through to decisioning an asset on a balance sheet. And we have multiple SaaS customers using the components of our Xapii platform. And of course, we rebranded from TikTok to Tiimely. Okay, let's have a look at our impacted industries. So Tiimely, we sit on 4 core pillars. So we are enabling the market, we're enabling our borrowers, and that's through our retail proposition, Tiimely Home, and our partnership with AFG. We're also enabling brands, so that's our large partners who want to have a digital home loan proposition in market. So think Bendigo Bank Express, Up Home, Qantas Money Home Loan, and NRMA. And of course, we're working with our partners to enable the industry, so taking the Xapii solutions to market to help solve discrete parts of the journey. We obviously have all the accreditations you expect from a scaled business, including our ISO SOC 2 and our unrestricted CDR accreditation. And if you look at what that actually translates to in industry today, we're seeing around about 3% of all home loan credit inquiries touch the platform each month. If you look at the digital-only channel, 70% of that volume flows through Tiimely's Xapii platform. And what we're seeing on average in the home loans use case, we're about an 8x efficiency difference. Okay, so let's have a look at Xapii. So we're just going to lay the foundation for our demonstration. I'm going to talk about a couple of the core Xapii principles, talk about our applicability and use cases, and then we can get out of the PowerPoint and go straight to the demo. It's important to note here that Xapii is built on 4 core principles. The first one is we are data source agnostic. So as a lender, you may have different trust factors for different data sources. What we will do with our Xapii solutions is we will manage that integration, the orchestration, the enrichment, and then how that can be used further down the funnel, moving to the decision. We embrace exception-based underwriting, and that's a really important concept. Because our tech can manage all of the collection and the enrichment, we can then digitize your credit policy and then look at how you can just look at the exceptions to your credit policy and risk appetite. Let the platform do the heavy lifting for you. Let your people, where they need to, just step into the automation and have a look at those exceptions. And what you'll see in our demonstration today is our third core principle, which is data interoperability. There's no point just getting a report and doing nothing with it. We believe that there needs to be an opportunity for your trusted users, think credit assessors or hardship analysts. There needs to be an opportunity for them to step into the automation and make any adjustments they need to get to a lending outcome that's going to benefit your consumer and your business. And then all of that is underpinned by our API-first approach to technology. And you'll be able to find our API documentation via tiimely.com if you'd like to have a look. And of course, you can reach out to the solutions team for more information. Okay, let's get into the live demonstration. Okay, we're going to set the scene a little bit here for you firstly. So today we'll be showing you the Xapii Decide solution. And we'll be talking about how that's going to help, in this case, solve for lending automation of a home loan, specifically how you do the automation of your financial position and automation of your serviceability. So we need to think about our persona here. We're going to pretend we're a credit assessor or an underwriter, and we're going to pick up a deal that's got a couple of exceptions that we need to move to an outcome. And we're going to demonstrate through that process how you can get to time to improve the time to decision. It's important to note here the Xapii platform, being API first, is real-time decisioning. So you can bolt that into your own funnel and origination journey. Or if you need to come in and have a look at exception-based, we offer a user interface, as you see here. We can come in and have a look at all of those various exceptions. So let's work back from what we're going to see here. So firstly, imagine you're a credit assessor, you've picked up the application, you're presented with this dashboard here. There's a few bits that I'll point out firstly, and what I'm going to do is tie these back to the principles, and then we'll work through a worked example of how we can get this decision. So the first thing you see here at the top here is a whole lot of little tiles, different colors. This is effectively your risk appetite, your credit policy, digitized and parameterized to your tolerances. What you're seeing here is, think about a dynamic checklist that changes every time more data is added or a new application comes through. The red tiles effectively are the exceptions to your credit policy and risk appetite. They are the exceptions that would need to be looked at by a human in this example. Think about the green items here. This is where the technology has done all the heavy lifting for you. There is no need to do any interrogation, but you've got it there for full auditability and compliance sake. This is a core principle here, exception-based underwriting, but we'll have a deeper look at that in a moment. Moving around the dashboard, you see a little bit of information around the data that's been used to underpin the validation, a quick overview of your financial position, your income, expense, and asset liability, and importantly, a snapshot, in this case, of the account and transaction data that's been used to help automate this decision. And I'm going to jump over now to have a look at our accounts summary. And this is one of the other core principles that we talked about. This is where Xapii is designed to be data source agnostic. So we see here our two applicants. We have Liam, Ethan. Xapii has automatically consolidated and collected all of this data, allocated the account ownership. But importantly, this has come from a variety of sources. So we can see here a source of external. Imagine if you're a bank and you have a whole lot of data on your balance sheet. We provide data collection options, as you'll see in just a moment, where you can pipe that data through and we'll do the automation for you. We also provide common plugins and integrations for data aggregators in industry. So if you are using one of those common data aggregators today, we can plug into their APIs, pull that through, and then benefit from the Xapii enrichment and automated decisioning. And we also do our own OCR. So this is really important. So statements obviously they might not be as fancy as some of the other modern data sources, but everybody has them. And often in a lending situation, you will need to rely on them. So Xapii built our OCR functionality to digitize those statements. So what you can see here is a summary of all the accounts, various enrichment, drill down to transactions where you need to, and some of these risk indicators. Let's just jump back to our dashboard. So we've covered off two principles there. First one is a quick look at the exception-based underwriting. And the second one, having a look at how Xapii is designed to be data source agnostic. If you trust the data source, we'll pull it in, we'll do the automation for you. Now, putting my underwriter hat back on, I'm looking at this deal. On the surface, there's a solid financial position. We can see there are some good level of automation of your credit policy, a few exceptions. The other thing I need to understand is what is the serviceability position in this home loans use case of these customers. So I'm going to jump down to our financial summary. What we're seeing here is, again, your credit policy entirely digitized by Xapii, parameterized tolerances. This is serviceability position presented in real time for you, which you can then iterate on. First thing up the top, serviceability metrics. A lot of us in lending will be very familiar with these. These are really critical to the decision-making process and obviously to ongoing affordability. I'm having a look at this application here. I can see there is actually a positive net monthly surplus. That's good news. So again, a few exceptions to policy, but I have a positive net monthly surplus. Excellent. We also will position for you other important serviceability metrics, such as the net surplus ratio, your debt to income ratio, debt servicing, and MRI, but there's a lower level of detail. We designed the financial summary experience so that users can step through more detail if they need to, but importantly, the results are there at the top. I'm just going to expand some of these details here to show you what that looks like. You can see here there's some additional metrics, but importantly, we have run serviceability across 4 core attributes. This is quite a unique part of the Xapii platform, and it gives our partners and customers a lot of flexibility as to where they use it in their funnel and how they use it for their decision making. The first thing is we've run serviceability metrics against what the customer has declared. So imagine you are a broker fact find or an application form. You've declared your financial position. We will run a serviceability assessment for you on those declared financials, just so you can sense check, yes, this deal looks good, or these customers should go into a nurture sequence. Then we've run on all of the detected financials that have gone through in the system. Validated is where a human, one of your trusted users, has stepped into the automation and made some adjustments. But then importantly, we have our calculated. Calculated is the best possible blend of serviceability at any given time using the automation that Xapii provides. And we'll bring that to life a little bit more for you in a moment. Also, we do provide a lot of contextual inline help if you ever need to step into more detail. Moving down financial summary. I'm feeling confident as an underwriter now. A few policy exceptions we need to look at. A good serviceability position, but I want to understand some of the context around income, liability, and expenses. And as you can see here, we break down into the high-level components what goes into your serviceability calculations, so your expenses, your eligible income. But then moving further down, you can see really detailed breakdowns by each of those core financial areas as to what is influencing that serviceability outcome. First thing here, let's have a look at our applicants. We can see there are a number of income types that have been automatically identified by Xapii for you. We have a declared position if it was provided. Again, think about that broker fact find type scenario. And then we have our validated position. We also have the eligibility. So again, your serviceability can be entirely configured in Xapii. What that means, for example, is you can apply shading to income types. We all know not all income types are created equal. This is just an example of how you can shade some of those income types. And then finally, we have what has actually gone through to the automation. Some good news there. Salary has been automatically validated, and I can actually see that through these contextual slides here, that it has been automatically validated. And that is a great situation. I'm going to jump down now into income just to bring that to life a little bit more for you. So stepping into our income screen, we can see the income aspects of this application for both applicants. Firstly, we can see that we've collected some information from, again, that application experience or fact find around salary, around bonuses, and any rental income information in this case. Then over here, we can see what this automation has found for you. So we've identified some salary, some government benefits, some rental income, some interest, and there's some other income sources too. This is the key bit here around why we can get to the decisions as quickly as we can, because we have validated, in this case, salary automatically. Absolutely, you can see the raw transactions, but again, let the tech do the heavy lifting. Let's show you what that looks like. I'm going to step into this validation now, and we'll have a look. So I can see here, we have identified 14 transactions totaling around $69,000 over a period of 195 days. I'm comparing that automatically to what has been declared in an application experience. then against what we found. So you declared 181,000. We found a 187,000. There's some irregularity in the sequence, but there's enough transactions there to give us confidence of stability. We've done an automatic conversion to gross, so we'll manage all your tax rates for you. And then we're validating that against a declared financial position inside a tolerance, say, for example, plus or minus 10%. So you can automatically rely on that salary input and it goes straight through to your serviceability calc. That's great news. However, if I needed to, I can still step into the validation here. We have some handy calculators built into the flow, year-to-date annualizers, PAYG calculators, and you can make necessary adjustments and annotate if you need to. However, green is good. We've automatically validated that. No further action required. So jumping back to our financial summary, we can see here we're happy with the income position, but there's a couple of liability aspects we need to look at. I can see there's a limit that hasn't validated. We might need to go and have a look at that. So let's jump now into our asset and liability view. This is built on account and transaction data, importantly. Firstly, we'll play back an information around any declared liability position, home loans, personal loans, credit store cards, HEX, for example. So you have that there at all times. We can see that the system has automatically identified home loan with transactions. We have calculated a balance. We have determined a repayment, and we have matched it against what was declared in the application form. And importantly, because a security address was provided here, we now linked automatically the home loan and any rental income to that security for you, and that can be adjusted by ownership amounts where you need to as well. So look, Liam's position is looking good. If I'm just going to jump down to Ethan. So home loans look okay, personal loans look okay, but looking at the credit card here, there is a problem. Now the validation of Xapii has told us exactly what's gone on here. So in this case, the application stated $8,000. We found $20,000. You know what? That's outside of my acceptable tolerance. I can now do through reasonable inquiry, have a look at this application, make some adjustments. I might say, you know, it is actually 20,000, reviewed, automated assessment. Obviously, real assessors do much better annotations than me. We'll save that review now. And what you'll see, the color has changed. It's telling me now that somebody, in this case, Richard, has stepped in on the 2nd of May, made an adjustment to that. And now we can go through and just see how that affects our serviceability position. So there's a slight change there. We updated the income as well. We're actually looking okay at the moment. So in a normal use case, an underwriter would go through and work through all of these various exceptions until they get to an outcome where they're happy that they can say yes, approve, or not now for a customer. Importantly as well, Xapii provides a lot of low-level enrichment information. I'm just going to jump down to our expense view here at the moment. So expenses in lending are obviously, this is a very complex area, probably the most complicated use case out there, besides maybe an SME. But Xapii will do, again, a lot of the heavy lifting for you. What you're presented with here is a non-discretionary expense position based on the data that's been linked for this application. Again, importantly, I have a playback of all the various expenses that have been stated through an application experience. We have some automated validation running to say, tell me programmatically if what you declare in your expenses is within an acceptable tolerance of what we find, and we can automate that for you. Again, we also have our categorization engine running over the top of that and making all the groupings here. Now, if I need to, I can again step in to that automation, looking at raw transactions now. I'm looking at our cash withdrawals, and again, I can make reasonable inquiry in this lending use case, adjust a few of these discretionary positions, annotate where I need to, and what that will do is will automatically update my non-discretionary expense position. What you can also see here is Xapii is flagging for you if you've configured any potential high-risk behavior. We have models to identify potentially high-risk cash withdrawal behavior, for example, multiple cash withdrawals same day, cash withdrawals over X% of your monthly expense amount, or over a certain amount. But in this case, I've made a couple of adjustments. I'm going to jump back into the summary. I can see the discretionary expense position is updated, and my overall non-discretionary expense position has improved. However, programmatic expense validation isn't for everybody. So if your policy or risk appetite says, I don't need to look at expenses in this use case, we can suppress this functionality for you. And the alternative is relying on benchmarks such as the household expenditure measure, which we manage for you out of the box in Xapii. Let's jump through to our living expense view here and just show you what that looks like. So here is a calculation where we've looked up automatically the HEM benchmark based on your gross household income, your relationship status, and your dependents. We've compared it against your general expenses. We have taken the max of those and added back any of those additional expenses to come up, in this case, with an input expense position for serviceability. So this just gives you an example of the configurability in Xapii to your risk appetite that lets you either go programmatically, or if you need to use a more traditional approach using benchmarks, we've got that covered for you. So we've covered off our exception-based underwriting, which is this flow here. We've covered off our data source agnostic principle and how we collect data from lots of different processes. We've covered off our data interoperability, so we've been able to step into this assessment, make all the relevant necessary adjustments we need to. And we've importantly demonstrated that this is a user interface experience, but again, we have the API there if you'd rather bolt this into your source of truth system, such as a decision engine or Salesforce CRM or Dynamics. Entirely up to you. We're trying to give you that optionality. So importantly, in this case, I keep working these exceptions until I'm comfortable with the deal. If I need to collect more information, Xapii will let you do that for you. So we'll build up your decision packet and your data collection over time, appending new data as we need it. For example, if I need to request a new data linking event, we can send an email with a personalized link here that goes off, collects that data. It'll come straight through to Xapii, and then we will read a decision for you. Conversely, if you want to upload an additional statement, we can show you what that looks like here. So I'm just going to go to our document uploader. We'll just grab a demonstration, grab the ING statement here. Xapii OCR is now running over the top of this. What we're doing firstly is doing some fraud checks against the document. Is the instructional integrity okay? Does it look like anything is being identified and interfered with? And if it looks okay, then we'll greenlight that for our automation of financial position. I can also allocate that who I need to for ownership. We'll leave that against Liam. I'm going to upload that now. What you'll also see is we've automatically indexed all those documents on upload. And in a moment, our OCR process, there it is, just kicked off. And again, we're appending that data to the financial position, recutting the decision, and redoing the serviceability results. That'll take a little while to run through, but just gives you an example of how you can iterate on your decision as and when circumstances changes, which is important. Think about conditional approval. They're not all going to be solved in the first day. They might be spread out of 60 days or so. Xapii can adapt as the information changes. So hopefully that's given you a bit of a feel for how Xapii's principles come to life in the platform. I imagine we're getting a couple of questions in the channel now. We might jump back to our summary screen now and give you a bit of an overview of what you've seen today, and then we'll open up the floor for some questions and comments. So again, we've given you an introduction to Xapii and Tiimely, and hopefully brought to life for you what Xapii is about, the solutions we're looking to solve for, and Tiimely's journey as well. We've given you an overview of Xapii's core principles. Data source agnostic. If you trust the data source, we'll bring it in. Exception-based underwriting will help you digitize your policy, build in automated checks, and then make it available for you via our data interoperability via API or UI, so you can step into the automation if and when required. We've demonstrated today the Xapii Decide solution. And again, that's a lending decision use case. In this case, we've shown you for home loans, but it's important to remember that we have applicability of the Xapii solutions across the funnel and use cases. For example, auto finance, consumer hardship, and we can apply Xapii at any stage through that origination and nurture sequence, from early stages to work out whether you're ready for an application, all the way to a decision before you're ready to put your asset onto your balance sheet. So hopefully you've found that interesting today. I'm happy to open the floor now for comments and questions. I think that will, let's see how they're flowing through. Okay, first question. So here we go. So how easy is it to integrate with Xapii? As I mentioned, one of our core principles is we are API first. So that means when we design and architect our system, we're building from an API framework, event-driven architecture under the hood, and that gives us a lot of optionality of how we can assemble our components. That comes together via our API documentation, which you can have a look at. It's public via the tiimely.com website. We've designed it so it's easy to get data in, firstly. So imagine you've got a data collection out of a broker fact find journey or your online application form. Give us that data packet, we'll pipe it through. Thing one. Section two is we will manage the integrations to the trusted data sources, as you saw earlier. So that could be your own data from your own core banking system. It could be through data aggregators. It could be via managed open banking integration. We will manage that for you, the orchestration, the calling, the enrichment. And then importantly is the data out. So we provide a number of endpoints which make it easy for you to get data out around serviceability, around credit policy decisioning, around any enrichment. So ideally, you've got a couple of APIs to plug in to get your data in and get your data out. So we find most customers are able to generally integrate within a sprint or two, sprint being a couple of weeks with one developer, quite easy. And of course, the solutions team is there to help you on every step of the way. Oh, yep. So great question there. So how long does that integration take? So we find it is generally about a sprint. If you're looking at a 2-week cycle for a development engineer with your testers, there's really 4 core APIs, which are really great to integrate with the Xapii Decide solution. Again, it depends on what your stack is like. So if you've got a decision engine or you have a Salesforce CRM, we can help you with our common data model mappings and our API integration support, but you're looking at around about a sprint or 2 to get that integrated. And again, our solutions team is there to help you, not just with technical implementation, but beyond that as to any operational change management and of course credit policy digitization advice. Another question flowing through, good one. So can this be used for lighter touch assessments? Absolutely, and that's a really good question, because I think what we've shown you today is our Xapii Decide solution. It's for lenders. It's for people who are responsible for their risk appetite, the compliance setting. It's the last check before you're putting an asset onto a balance sheet. However, you can leverage the Xapii functionality through our Xapii Convert solution to do validation of financial position and serviceability earlier in the funnel at a lower cost and a lower complexity. So imagine you have this much at the top of your funnel. You want to understand how many of those are ready to put in front of a broker. That's where Xapii Convert can help you assess those people for deal readiness. If they look good, we'll move them through the funnel. Then that application evolves from Xapii Convert to Decide. However, if they're not ready, we'll give you some insights back, and then you can build a nurture sequence around it. For example, remove this debt here. Let's optimize your borrowing capacity over the next couple of months. Yeah, great question there. So we support, we are a Lixi member. So we think that, Lixi does a great job in standardizing industry. And we have, through our lending journey since 2017, leveraged a lot of the great work Lixi does and other lenders. But obviously we built onto that where we needed to. We found that the digital only journey was, it deviated a little bit from a broker journey. So we've tried to bring the two together, leveraging the great work that people like, Lixi Standards, for example, do today. Okay, I think I'm just going to turn to my system over here. We're going for time. I think we're good. Okay, well, that's it. So thank you, everybody, for joining today. We hope you've got something out of this. It's been, we really appreciated you taking the time out to join us. Again, if you need to get in contact with us, find our contact details on the site there. So Richard Shanahan, again, my pleasure having you today. Thank you very much, and we look forward to speaking in the future.